It's Indie 5 time here in Rauta. 5 albums gone quickly through, mostly because they are not very relevant or new, but also because this is not a batch of high quality. As previous Indie 5, this time it's trying to go through them in alphabetical order. We'll start with the band from Mallorca, which is one of the Spanish islands. Mediterranean Sea. This one is called Inferitvm, and their second album, the Grimoires. Not very big name, obviously. Released through Finnish label Inverse Records, which so often seems to be a home for bands that are not able to get a deal from bigger labels. They offer the service or possibility to just self-finance your CD, and they will handle the rest. Printing the albums, distribution and whatnot. I'm not sure if this band is exactly a NSBM band, but one might say there's a little hint with this CD print there. And then finally we have this CD inlay. All in all, quite a traditional second wave thing, cliche even, if you might say. And unfortunately that applies to the music as well. This might be very well a some 1995 or something like that release, because everything from a typical 90s black metal release is basically here, except for the quality of songs, I'm afraid to say. There are dramatic synthesizer parts, guitar melodies, spoken parts, just basically everything you can imagine happening to be in a 90s type of black metal release. So unfortunately, these Spanish guys have not figured out to create an interesting album, even though they have all the ingredients there. It's like, I don't know, making some food with some quick recipe, but then you just don't quite get the right ingredients or right amounts and whatever, and you end up having a kind of a bad version of what might have been good. Also, this album is way too lengthy for its own good. It's just something like 1 hour, I think a little bit more than 60 minutes, and it gets really tiresome after a while. It's not outright bad, but it's really mediocre. I have no intention to go back that, so with those words, check it out if you will. Next one is a little bit older release. I think this is their debut album from Canada, Powered by Death, released by Greek small label Hidden Tribes, which sent me already last year a batch of CDs and tapes, and I've been going through them every now and then when I have pretty much figured how to do the older ones. As you can see, no layout picture as such. Then we have kind of an old school cover image, carving an eye. Looks like more death metal, to be honest, but let me tell you, this is thrash metal. To be honest, I was thinking this might be an American band. I don't know, it sounded so much American, looked like even that, but this is Canadian. But basically, everything sounds there very American way, and I don't think it's a bad thing here. To be honest, this reminds me of first wave thrash metal bands from the 80s. Some riffs just remind me of, Slayer, some remind me of Metallica, the early thrash stuff, and probably other bands as well, which I just probably didn't pick up, Exodus, Violence, whatever. But old school thrash is the name of the game here. However, this is their debut album. It's not very well honed. There's lots of polishing to be done. Sound-wise, it's a little bit... well, not that good, but I actually like the kind of old school way how this band approaches thrash metal. It's kind of like well done, but it's still in a little bit of a demo phase, but definitely worth listening if you are into thrash metal. Just don't expect the best quality out there, but just some promising band rather than anything else. From Canada, it is very short distance in a way to go to United States, though this one is from Texas, so south parts of United States. Profundum with Come Holy Death. This is already a little bit older release as well, as you can see, 2017, released by Hidden Tribes as well. a CDR digipack. CDR is usually what Hidden Tribe seems to be doing with these ones. There's not much to see inside, just very simple info here, black digipack inlay, so kind of like basic, almost self-financed feeling here. And same applies to the music, unfortunately. This is very much like Limbonic art gone Doom. That is very, very synth dominated black metal, but also some kind of doomy parts. Some of the parts are just outright fast, and as such remind me of Limbonic art, as there is a lot of sense to just, pace the music, giving the kind of a level of, not aggression maybe, but kind of a, like we're in a hurry, we're busy, all that stuff. But then it just slows down to the kind of a funeral doom kind of thingy, which is actually an interesting combo. The thing here is, this album is suffering very much from kind of a weak production. Drums sound almost like machine. They might be, but at least there's an info that there should be real drums. But they are not good, that's the point. And also the mix of kind of a Crowley and shrieky vocals is just something like, it seems like they are trying out which one would fit better. And neither of them are doing very well. They're like okayish, but hardly anything else. And guitars are kind of a mushy. So this is like a Limbonic art that is just like heard like behind a wall or something. As much as I like the idea here, and I like how they are using synths, the overall result is kind of a mediocre. It seems like they are suffering that they didn't demo enough material here. Very promising, but this one, no cigar delivered. And now it's time for the worst two, I'm afraid. So if you're allergic to bad albums, stop watching right now. We go to Finland, actually with both of these bands. This one is called Rifftera. I don't know if it's supposed to hint to Pantera, whatever. This one is Across the Acheron, second album if I'm not mistaken. As you can see, pretty young guys. It seems to be not very typical metal looking guys. Just lyrics inside, not much I guess to show, just basic information, lyrics, whatever. And well, what can I say? This band is a weird case. A very annoying album, by the way, to listen to. The thing is, this is a band that doesn't seem to figure out which way to go. There are lots of clean vocal parts, which on this album feel actually quite annoying. It's to the level of kind of a modern metalcore stuff. Like, at some point they are more like melodic metal, having growly parts, and actually really good thrash riffs here and there. I'm like, wow, these guys know what they're doing. And then these quite annoying clean vocals just entered the game and caused the whole thing to collapse. I mean, these guys could be doing, I don't know, power metal maybe. And they could be good at it, because actually the vocalist handling the good clean vocals as well is really talented. I kind of like them, but not in this context. Also, the trashy riffs and the growly vocals, they're pretty good, but these different things just don't, they don't work together so well. At least I felt quite annoyed with the combo. It's like having salty food and sweet food at the same time. For some people, in some combos it works, but most of the time not. And just kind of like ironically, this is very well produced album in the terms of how everything sounds, guitars, drums, and everything. Pretty well done, strong, and all that stuff, clear. But just something doesn't click. It's just something so goddamn annoying that I just can't get around it and over it and whatever. So I think Rifftera should be just splitting their material into two parts. Do something totally power metal-ish, symphonic, melodic, whatever stuff, and then focus on the trash. I'm afraid with this context, this album is just plain annoying. And the other part that is also annoying, the last album here is a Finnish band called Wolfhorde, Hounds of Perdition. Nice looking digibag, by the way. Once again, by Inverse Records, which was like the case with Rifftera. This looks nice, to be honest. I had a feeling that this might be something nice, considering kind of a folk black. That's not my typical cup of tea, but I mean, I have nothing against folk metal bands. And here's the picture of the band, by the way. But it sounds like they could actually do it. Kind of like a Finnish metal in the Finnish way. Lots of snow and then some folk metal elements and all that stuff. But there's the one major mistake. Everything with this album regarding folkish is just done by synths. I mean, where are the just the traditional instruments, which are kind of key essential material when it comes to creating folk music, in my opinion, anyway. But here everything is just like plastic version of folk music. Like, hey, let's go to this folk festival, this kind of a medieval thing. We have done with synths. We have the Yamaha here, but to play the whole band. I'm like, shit, are you guys for real? And again, this album seems to be more like experimenting. They're labeled as folk black, but I think it's referring to the older material because there's hardly anything black metalish here. More like melodic metal, having some synth parts, kind of like Nightwish orchestrated things, and then these folky stuffs. And it makes very, very little sense. Pretty much like a relative band to this Rifftera, both having the problems, not so much as, with the instruments played or how the vocals are conducted, but more like putting the wrong pieces together. It's like forcing a puzzle piece. I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna do it, and then it's like that. The other problem with Wolfhorde is that they don't have cool riffs. They don't have cool songs. So they might be talented with their instruments, vocals, even to some extent with the production, but they are not good songwriters, I'm afraid. And this combination, having synths doing the folky stuff, it's just like, oh, facepalming bad. So what can I say? Stay the hell out of Rifftera and Wolfhorde unless you are intrigued for some grinchy stuff. The rest of this material, maybe, if I just had to pick one, it would be this Powered by Death, these Canadian thrashers. That would be my choice. But of course, you do what you will with your own time and your listening pleasure. So check out the links below if you're interested. And as always, get back to me for some comments in the box below. See you soon with more Rauta reviews coming your way. Take